Hey, welcome back to the Crabby Dice. Today we're going to be looking at a fantastic tile laying family weight game called Cacao. So the theme for this game is we're just going to be tribe elders, collecting cacao, trading them into markets in a way to try to get victory points, because that's how we win. Alright, so this is going to be the rules and setup video. Click on the link below for the playthrough and my thoughts. Three things before we start: please like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. That would be fantastic. Let's get started. Alright, let's deal with the setup. So this is a tile laying game, so you're gonna have a gigantic stack of tiles. Okay, go through them and take out your one cacao field and two market. Put them in this orientation. This is the starting layout. The rest of the stack of the tiles, you could shuffle them, split them, do whatever you like to do. Put them on the side of the board and flip over the first two. Alright, something like that. You can put your point chits, your sun tokens, and your cacao near the game board, but leave a bit of space because the board's going to grow. Alright, for every player, they're going to get a circular board. They're going to have their stack of tiles, and they're going to have their meeple on the -10 space. If you're playing more than two players, you're going to have to go through their deck and remove some tiles. Look at the rule book for that, but you're pretty much ready to go. Alright, let's talk about the cacao rules. The game is really simple. It's just a tile laying game. So at the start of the game, you're going to draw 3 tiles from the top of your worker tile deck. And essentially, you're always going to have 3. At the end of your turn, you're going to redraw back up to 3. Alright, near the end of the game, when your deck runs out, obviously you're just going to have less. And you're going to play until everyone's finished all their tiles. And that's how the end game gets triggered. At that point, you're going to tally who has the most points. And whoever has the most is going to win the game. Alright. I'm going to have a scoring section. Just click on the link below and I'll show you how to score at the end of the game. Alright, but basically on your turn, what you're going to do, you're going to play a tile to the game board. Okay, then it's going to go to the next player and so on and so on. So what you need to know is that on a tile, there's meeples on each side, and that's how many times you're going to activate the jungle spaces around it. Alright, so by placing it here, for example, I get to activate this jungle space 1 time because there's 1 meeple on that side, and I get to activate this jungle space 1 time because I have 1 meeple on that side. Okay. Some placement rules: you always have to place next to at least 1 jungle tile. Alright. And we're creating a checkerboard like pattern, so you can never have 2 jungle tiles next to each other or 2 worker tiles next to each other. Okay, so my first tile could be right here, for example. Okay, what this represents, which I already said, you're going to get 1 cacao because I have 1 meeple along this edge to this jungle. Okay, I'm going to explain all the tiles in the following section. I'm just teaching you the placement rules right now. And there you go. I placed the tile, I activated the jungle space, I would refill my hand, and then we'll go on to the next player. So they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to grab a tile and they're going to play it. Okay, same thing, always next to a jungle tile, never next to another worker tile, and there you go, that's it. Now, whenever you create an opening between 2 worker tiles, like for example right here, the player who played that tile is going to look at the jungle display, take one of those tiles and fill in that spot. So that's how the jungle tiles get generated on the game board. So let's take this one for example and fill in the spot, and when you do that, just refill the jungle display. Then you refill your hand, and then it goes on to the next player. Okay. When adding a jungle tile to the game board, every worker tile around that tile gets to activate. So even though it was purple who added this tile, red still gets to activate this tile because they do have a meeple touching that tile. Okay. So let's just say red were to play the next tile. Let's say this one here. There's another opening that gets created, so let's just say red wants to add this, so red would get to activate this tile 3 times and purple would get to activate this tile 1 time. And then you're just going to keep going back and forth. If you're more than 2 players, you're going to each take a turn playing a tile, just keep going around and around and around. Different tiles do different things. I'm going to talk about that in the next section. Alright, so now let's talk about all the different tiles in the game. There's only 6 different types, so let's go through them one by one. So these are cacao spaces, okay? By putting your meeples next to them, you're gonna pick up cacao and place them on your board at the bottom here, equal to the amount of times you place the meeple, right? So there are double cacao spaces. So for example, if I would put a 1 meeple next to a double, you'd actually get 2 and add it to your board at the bottom here. Now your supply can only hold up to 5. So for example, if I put a 3 next to a 2, it generates 6. While I can't put in 6, I would still only take 5. for example. These are called the markets where you sell cacao. So it works in the opposite direction. So what you're going to do is you're going to sell the amount of cacao equal to the amount of meeples. So for example, here I can sell 3 cacao to this market for 3 gold each. So I'm going to take 3 cacao off my board, and I'm going to take 9 gold from the general supply as victory points and just add it to my player area. All right, there's different markets. There's some for 2, some for 3, some for 4. So for example, if I had a 1 meeple next to a 4, I get to sell 1 cacao for 4 gold. Remember, taking it from the general supply and add it to your playing area. And the last 4, they're special ones. All right, so the mines are straight up victory points. So if you have 3 next to the 2, you activate this 3 times, you're going to get 6 points from the general supply and add it to your player area. There are 1 point mines. Again, if you put a 3 next to a 1 point mine, you'll get 3 points. All right, there's the sun tokens. All right, I'll talk about these later on, but the amount of sun tokens you'll collect from the general supply is equal to how many meeples you have there. So for example, I would get 3 sun tokens like this. And the sun tokens are all stored on your player board right over here. So you can have at most 3 on your board. All right, the next space here is the water space. And this is moving your meeple up the river here. So the amount of steps you're going to do is equal to the amount of meeples that are attached to the water space. So for example, here I'll do 3 steps on the water space. I'll go 1, 2, 3, and you just keep moving along. All right, this is all endgame scoring stuff. I'll explain in the next section, but where your meeple ends at the end of the game is how many positive or negative points you'll get on your score. And lastly, there's the temples, which is again a endgame scoring thing, which you're going to only calculate at the end of the game. Essentially, you don't get anything right away by connecting to a temple. At the end of the game, whoever has the most meeples surrounding a temple is going to score the bigger value, and whoever has the second most is going to score the little value. So if I had 6 meeples around this temple, I would score 6, let's just say, and somebody else had 3, they would get 3 points, for example. And that's what all the tiles do. Okay, the last thing I forgot to explain is the sun discs. So these can only be used once the jungle tile stack is empty. So once all the tiles are on the board, so let's say the whole stack is empty and they're on the board, this is just a simulation here, then you can use your sun discs. So what happens is you can turn one into the general supply to overbuild on top of a tribe or worker tile you already have on the board. So for example, I can overlay on top of this one and then reactivate all the tiles around it. So for example, I would get 3 times on the water track and I'll get 1 on this temple. And then when it came back to my turn again, I can use another one to place on top of another tile that I had. So if I placed it here, I could sell to the market here, sell to the market and get another cacao. Okay, sort of how it works. And then as my last action, let's say I use another one to overbuild again, I'd overbuild this one, so on again, activate everything around it. So that's how sun tiles work. When the tile is jungle tiles are completely empty, then you can overbuild on top of your own by spending them. For each one you don't spend, you'll get a point, but you'll see that in the following section. Hi, welcome to the scoring section. So you're going to calculate 3 things at the end of the game. Remember, you score when everyone's finished all their tiles, and you're going to have the points you gain during the game. All right, so that's going to be 2 things. You're going to have your whatever you sold to markets, you're going to get those coins, and also the mines. Remember, the mines, you also get to take coins directly from the supply. Okay, so you're going to add up all that. Second thing you're going to do is add up your score on the water track, so wherever you are, so you can have 0 or negative or positive. So let's say you were here, you get plus 7 points. All right, and the last thing you're going to do is score all the temples. I already mentioned it in the previous section, but for every temple, you're going to see how many meeples are around it. Whoever has the most meeples is going to get the higher point value. Whoever's the least, or the second most, is going to get the smaller point value. And if there's a tie, you're going to share the most, so it's divided by 2, so you're both going to get 3, and nobody's going to score second place. All right, you add up all those 3 things together and see who wins Cacao. So those are the basic rules. Click on the link below for my playthrough and thoughts on the game, or on all the expansion bits and pieces. If not, we'll see you in the next one. Later.